The Walking Dead virus. The Walking Dead virus, known as wildfire, infects humans asymptomatically and remains inert until the host's death triggers its reactivation. At that moment, the virus activates residual neurons in the brainstem and hindbrain to restore motor functions, enabling basic reflexes like walking and biting, while higher cortical functions, including memory and reasoning, remain offline. Reactivation can occur within 3 minutes or up to 8 hours after death, and it preserves decaying cells by halting apoptosis and delaying decomposition. Nose. In living carriers, the virus replicates at low levels in respiratory tissues, shedding airborne particles without causing symptoms. Once reanimated, hosts release large viral loads through saliva, blood, and other bodily fluids. Bites and scratches deliver the virus directly into tissue, causing a secondary infection called necrosepsis, which leads to fever, organ failure, and death within 48 hours in untreated victims who then reanimate. Wildfire integrates into host DNA, making eradication impossible with conventional antivirals or antibiotics. The only way to neutralize a reanimated carrier is to destroy the brainstem to interrupt viral control of motor neurons. Variants of wildfire have emerged with faster reactivation times and temporary bursts of strength or speed. That completes the breakdown of the Walking Dead virus. The Rage virus. The Rage virus spreads through direct contact with infected blood or saliva, making every encounter dangerously contagious. Engineered in a Cambridge primate research lab, it is an artificial pathogen modeled after Ebola, but designed for even faster transmission. Once in the bloodstream, it multiplies at an explosive rate and breaches the blood-brain barrier, attacking the amygdala and other centers that regulate aggression and impulse control. Higher reasoning collapses almost instantly. Within seconds, the infected fall into a state of uncontrollable fury, gaining heightened strength, speed, and ferocity. The virus also destabilizes blood vessels, triggering continuous hemorrhaging as the body breaks down. By hijacking neural circuits, the Rage virus strips away restraint and compels hosts to lash out, spreading the infection without hesitation. No treatment or antiviral has shown the ability to halt its takeover. Transmission is purely through fluid exposure. Bites, scratches, and contact with saliva deliver the virus directly into tissue. There is virtually no incubation period. Symptoms erupt within moments of infection. Carriers harbor overwhelming viral loads, making even a close brush potentially lethal. Victims lose all ability to reason, hunting the uninfected with relentless focus. Attempts at containment fail against the virus's speed and unpredictability. With no observed natural immunity, every exposure ends in tragedy. World War Z virus. The World War Z virus, called Solanum in the novels, is a fluid-borne pathogen that enters through contact with contaminated blood or bodily fluids. After entering the bloodstream, it penetrates the blood-brain barrier and attacks cells in the frontal lobe, replicating inside them while destroying them. As neurons collapse, the virus cuts off heart activity and shuts down vital organs, killing the host within about 20 hours. At the point of death, Solanum preserves the brain by reshaping it into a self-sustaining organ that no longer needs oxygen, water, or nutrients. This second brain reanimates the corpse in roughly 23 hours, restoring motor ability and compelling the body to hunt new victims. Transmission occurs only through fluid exchange, most often bites and scratches, but also through wounds, kissing, sex, transfusions, or transplants. Because Solanum fuses with host DNA and regenerates decomposed tissue, normal antivirals and antibiotics fail against it. Once reanimation occurs, the only permanent method of stopping it is the complete destruction of the altered brain. Train to Busan virus. The Train to Busan virus is an unnamed bioengineered mutagen that escaped from a South Korean biotech plant when contaminated waste leaked into local water sources. Early victims included wildlife, like the deer in the opening scene, which reanimated shortly after death. In living tissue, the virus halts apoptosis and fuses necrotic cells with viral proteins, preserving the brainstem and enabling post-mortem motor control once a host dies. Infection occurs almost instantly upon contact with infected blood or bodily fluids. Bites, scratches, or fluid splashes introduce the virus into the bloodstream, where it replicates rapidly and breaches the blood-brain barrier. Within seconds to minutes, victims display convulsive seizures, twitching, and darkened veins as higher cognitive functions collapse. The amygdala and motor centers remain active, driving victims to sprint with uncanny speed and hunt in swarming hordes. Once reanimated, a corpse remains infectious until its brainstem is destroyed. Conventional antivirals and antibiotics have no effect. The outbreak raced across the Korean peninsula in days, overwhelming quarantine efforts in cities like Daejeon and forcing survivors onto evacuation trains bound for Busan. No cure or vaccine exists, and any close encounter, sound, sight, or scent becomes a death sentence. The flare virus in the Maze Runner universe is a man-made pathogen released after a series of catastrophic solar flares devastated Earth. Originally engineered as a method of population control, control. In the wake of dwindling resources, the virus quickly mutated beyond expectation and spread uncontrollably. It attacks the brain, slowly breaking down higher functions and driving victims into madness and extreme aggression, turning them into violent beings called cranks. Unlike zombies, cranks are still alive but lose their humanity piece by piece, consumed by rage and insanity. The disease spreads mainly through bites and exposure, causing entire cities and regions to collapse into chaos. To combat this, the organization Wicked was formed, tasked with finding a cure by experimenting on immune individuals. However, their methods were brutal, using children in deadly trials to harvest data. The flare's progression is terrifyingly inevitable. Early symptoms begin with paranoia and headaches, later escalating into hallucinations and uncontrollable violence. While some retain fragments of self-awareness in early stages, full-blown cranks become almost unstoppable predators. The virus symbolizes humanity's desperate gamble gone wrong, showing how one attempt to control the future instead doomed it. Even with Wicked's research, the world remains on the brink, with survival hinging on the faint hope of a cure. I Am Legend virus. The Crippen virus began as a genetically modified measles virus, designed by Dr. Alice Crippen to deliver a cancer cure through patients' bloodstream. Early trials showed dramatic tumor regression in over 10 subjects, but the virus mutated. It became airborne and far more lethal. 90% of those infected died within days, succumbing to massive immune collapse. About 0.2% of the population proved naturally immune, while roughly 9.8% transformed into dark seekers, creatures with hyperaggression, enhanced strength, and no higher cognitive function. Dark seekers emerge pale, hairless, and hypersensitive to ultraviolet light. In living patients, the Crippen virus replicates in respiratory tissues, spreading silently via coughs and sneezes. There's no incubation period for dark seeker conversion. Once the virus reaches the brain, the amygdala and hypothalamus are hijacked, triggering a savage, single-minded drive to hunt and feed. Infected individuals shed enormous viral loads in saliva and breath, making any close contact deadly. Conventional antivirals and antibiotics have zero effect. Survivors remain carriers and can relapse if they die. The only way to stop a dark seeker is to destroy its brainstem, halting viral control of motor neurons. Dead Alive virus. The Dead Alive virus first appears when a Sumatran rat monkey escapes a zoo and bites a human, introducing an unknown pathogen into the bloodstream. Once the virus enters via that bite, it replicates rapidly in muscle and neural tissues. Infected cells stop dying, but can't maintain normal structure, leading to grotesque lesions and constant hemorrhaging. Within hours, victims collapse from internal bleeding and cellular breakdown. Death does not end the infection. As soon as the heart stops, the virus halts cellular decay and reactivates basic motor circuits in the brainstem. The corpse regains limited functions, walking, biting, and grasping, but higher cognition remains offline. Reanimated hosts carry enormous viral loads in their blood, saliva, and tissue. Any contact with infected fluids or flesh, through bites, wounds, or even handling severed body parts, transfers the virus into a new host. No vaccine or antiviral treatment exists. Destroying the brain or severing the spinal cord is the only way to permanently stop a reanimated corpse. Amputation of heavily infected limbs can delay spread if done immediately, but once full reanimation occurs, there's no cure. Planet Terror virus. DC2 is a military-grade biochemical mutagen, accidentally released in a small Texas town. It's an airborne agent that infects hosts as soon as they inhale contaminated droplets. The mutagen crosses into the bloodstream and hijacks cell DNA, causing rapid replication and tissue overgrowth. Early symptoms appear within minutes. Small pimple-like nodules erupt across the skin as DC2 reshapes cells into tumor-like masses. Victims experience muscle tremors, loss of higher brain functions, and violent convulsions. As infection advances, they transform into sickos, creatures with grotesque flesh deformations, enhanced brute strength, and a single-minded drive to attack uninfected humans. Transmission continues both through inhalation of new DC2 particles and direct contact with infected blood or flesh. Bites and scratches deliver high viral loads directly into tissue, triggering the same rapid mutation process. Conventional antibiotics have no effect, and there is no vaccine. Temporarily inhaling a controlled DC2 dose can slow the transformation, but only amputation of bitten limbs before nodules spread offers a chance at survival. Once fully mutated, the only way to neutralize a sicko is to destroy its brain. Dead Snow virus. Dead Snow does not involve any biological pathogen. The undead in the film arise from an occult curse unleashed when a Nazi medallion is disturbed under thawing Arctic snow. The curse bypasses bypasses all viral or bacterial processes. As soon as the medallion is moved, it emits a psionic pulse that reactivates neurons in the brainstem and spinal cord of buried corpses. Muscle groups regain basic control, standing, shuffling, biting, while higher brain centers remain offline. No transmission occurs via bites, scratches, or fluid contact. Victims who suffer wounds from the undead never turn because there is no infectious agent to spread. Only the original corpses in direct proximity to the medallion can reanimate. The curse also preserves decaying tissue by halting cellular breakdown. Corpses remain intact enough to move even decades after death. Cold and darkness amplify the effect, while heat or sunlight weakens neural reactivation and can eventually halt it. Neutralizing the undead requires destroying both the medallion and the corpses. Incineration or detonating explosive charges severs the occult link and ends reanimation. Return of the Living Dead virus. Return of the Living Dead features no true virus. Its undead result from exposure to 2,4,5-trioxin, a military-grade chemical that reanimates dead tissue on contact. Trioxin penetrates intact cell membranes and jumpstarts basic nerve signals in a corpse's brainstem. Muscle fibers twitch and contract in programmed sequences, walking, biting, grasping, while higher thought processes stay offline. Corpses regain motor function within seconds of exposure. Spread depends entirely on trioxin aerosolization. Leaks or barrel ruptures release a gas cloud that drifts over bodies, igniting reanimation. In the original film, bites do not transmit trioxin, so survivors bitten by undead never become zombies. Later sequels introduce bite-based spread, but the first outbreak hinges solely on airborne contamination. Once active, trioxin remains potent in sealed containers and on clothing. Heat, fire, or strong acids are required to neutralize it and prevent further reanimation. Incinerating contaminated corpses and destroying storage drums is the only reliable countermeasure. That's it for this round of Outbreak breakdowns. Head over to part 2 to get into the next wave of zombie viruses and how they work.